What would a Super Bowl ring mean to you?
I grew up my whole life doing all type of stuff just to one day have that feeling. You know what I mean? I always said, man, I can only imagine what it feels like, you know what I mean, to win a championship at the highest level. Because that's what we do it for.
Welcome to the Schultz Report. I'm your host, NFL Insider Jordan Schultz. In today's show, we're talking post-Black Monday moves and updates, a crazy wild card weekend, and the divisional round ahead. Keyshawn Johnson will be checking in to share his thoughts on everything that he's seeing. And fresh off an instant classic, come from behind statement win, Chicago Bears star linebacker Tremaine Edmunds is joining the show today to talk about the Bears and the road ahead. Lock in and let's go. The playoffs are here and every game and every bet matters. Through my partnership with Fanatics Sportsbook, you've heard me talk about FanCash. And this is where it really counts. Every bet you place earns you up to 10% fan cash, win or lose. So even when a pick doesn't hit, you're still building fan cash you can use across the entire Fanatics ecosystem, from bets to tickets, jerseys, and more. Plus, Fanatics Sportsbook's fair play policy protects bettors from all first half injuries. Some books offer protection for the first quarter only or not at all in the playoffs, but not at Fanatics Sportsbook, where they flip losing bets into winning bets all postseason long. Make the switch to Fanatics Sportsbook today. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, 800-327-5050. New York, 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app. This has undoubtedly been the wildest, wackiest coaching cycle I've ever covered. And over the last week or so, I've had numerous conversations with sources around the league, and here's what I've learned. The Giants are looking to stabilize the organization after so much head coach turnover over the last decade. From McAdoo, Shermer, Judge, and now Brian Daboll, there's no one better to do that than John Harbaugh, and guess what? They know it. That's why, from my understanding, the G-men have put on a full court press to try to get him. They've had Joe Shane reaching out. They've had Chris Morrow reaching out. They've had other key executives reaching out. And Harbaugh is definitely interested, and from what I know, has done extensive research on all teams, but has done the most on the Giants. And get this, coming out of the draft last year, Jackson Dart had a big fan in John Harbaugh. The opportunity to work with him potentially alongside Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo, that is very appetizing to someone like Harbaugh. The Browns would love to keep DC Jim Schwartz with their new head coach, given all the defensive success they've had, which is why most expect them to hire an offensive-minded head coach. Many around the league have viewed the Browns as a team that could hire a head coach who might be a year away from being a legitimate candidate, but in their eyes, if he's going to be a head coach in the future, why wait? That's why you're seeing Cleveland interview requests for Bengals OC Dan Pitcher, Jags OC Grant Udinski, and Rams pass game coordinator Nate Scheelhaase. Pairing a young offensive mind with Schwartz is seen as very intriguing to Cleveland. The Falcons are viewed by many people I talk to as the most attractive job, along with Baltimore. This roster has studs everywhere, from Bijan, Drake, and a really good offensive line, a young quarterback who is very promising in Michael Penix, young pass rushers, Jalen Walker, James Pierce, DBs, AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts, among others. Roster-wise, it's very attractive. A new head coach gets the opportunity to be on equal footing with the front office, which now includes President of Football Ops, Matt Ryan, who is known to be very collaborative, as a new GM will also be coming in alongside you. So I do expect Atlanta to be targeting an offensive-minded coach. I've heard a lot of Kevin Stefanski here. One thing I will say this too, the organization would like to do is keep Jeff Ulbrich as DC with a new head coach. I reported last week that Dallas, Jerry Jones, wanted to interview Ulbrich for their open DC job, and Atlanta said no. So with all this in mind, a ton of young talent, generally speaking, a patient owner in Arthur Blank, a collaborative approach with Matt Ryan, and the new GM, there's a lot to like about the Falcons' head coaching opportunity. The Titans are doing a very deep search, and they might end up with 20 head coach interviews. But over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've heard from so many people around the league about how much they love Cam Ward after watching his film, especially the last month. His arm talent, his off-platform throws, and his ability to grow into a bona fide leader. And for the first time in a while, I keep hearing about Titans leadership and people actually wanting to work there, primarily with GM Mike Borgonzi, who came in last year from Kansas City. He is very well respected, both as an evaluator, a scout, and also a collaborative leader himself. People want to work with him, they want to collaborate with him, and that job has become very attractive as a result. I do believe at the end of the day, Tennessee targets a kind of leader of men type, but don't sleep on this job. Yes, we've heard a lot about the Falcons, the Ravens, even the Giants, but with $100+ million in cap, a promising GM, and an uber talented young quarterback, the Titans, to me, are the dark horse, big-time job of this cycle. The Ravens are viewed as the best job. You have an amazing owner in Steve Bisciotti, a really smart front office, and a really good roster. The relationship with Lamar Jackson is one to watch here, and I think that's going to be a key part of this. Not the main part, but still very important. The Ravens are going to look for the best coach they can find, but finding someone who can take this team and that MVP caliber quarterback, Lamar Jackson, to places they haven't gone yet is what they're going to prioritize. The type of self-assured coach with the confidence to take over the reins from someone like a John Harbaugh, not easy to do, but also be able to delegate. You know, Harbaugh, for as great as he was, did not call plays. That's not a prerequisite here either. One thing that I am looking for is whoever the coach is he willing to delegate the way that Harbaugh was? I'm not convinced yet that Baltimore wants to go really young with the head coaching hire, but one of the names that has been attached to them consistently from what I've heard is Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator with the Chargers, obviously with Jim Harbaugh. He also worked with John Harbaugh when he was with the Ravens for 4 years. There's a lot of synergy there, and in many ways he reminds me of Mike Macdonald, who previously was with Baltimore as well, now having a ton of success in Seattle. If Baltimore goes young, Minter might just be the guy. So the Ravens will explore a number of candidates really on both sides of the ball, but at the end of the day, what they're really looking for is a culture setter. Miami just hired a new GM, John Eric Sullivan from Green Bay. He's a very talented scout who was with the Packers for over 20 years. Now, Troy Aikman played a pretty big role in this hire, and I wouldn't sleep on Aikman's involvement either in the head coaching process as well. Aikman has seen a lot over his football life, and he's in a different NFL stadium every week talking to countless people for his Monday Night Football job. Now, his expertise has been invaluable as it's been described to me, and the Dolphins have really enjoyed having him involved in this process. So the Dolphins head coaching job does present itself with a different set of challenges than, let's say, the Giants or the Titans, because they don't have a tailor-made quarterback. I think everyone pretty much expects a divorce coming between Miami and Tua Tagovailoa. With that in mind, you do have the opportunity to mold the roster the way you want with John Eric Sullivan, who again is well-respected, a patient owner, and Stephen Ross, and you don't have the pressures of, hey, we got to make the playoffs year 1, year 2, or else. And there's something to be said about that in South Beach. The Cardinals are probably like the least talked about opening. And the one thing people have told me is that they're going to have a hard time attracting a top-tier coaching candidate because history has shown they haven't spent big money on coaches. Jonathan Gannon, as an example, was in the bottom tier of coaching salaries. So if Arizona wants a big fish or a coveted up-and-coming coach, they're going to have a tough time unless ownership really steps up, which as of now is unclear. And that's why I don't expect this to be a John Harbaugh destination, even though the two sides have already spoken. And it's a tough sell for a head coach that has to go up against McVay, Shanahan, and McDonald 6 times a year, especially when the organization has traditionally not given the head coach the resources necessary to consistently win. But that's the harsh reality of how the Cardinals are viewed right now. With all that being said, one name I've heard consistently attached to the Arizona job, defensive coordinator from the Broncos, Vance Joseph. He's obviously been in Arizona before. There's familiarity there. And I think he's learned a lot from his tenure in Denver with Sean Payton. The most complex job on the market, the Raiders, who last year tried to puzzle piece a coaching staff when they hired Pete Carroll, brought in Chip Kelly, and retained DC Patrick Graham, and it became very clear that mashing together different philosophies simply wasn't going to work. Now, to be clear, GM John Spytek wasn't really a part of that search last year. He's now running this search fully now. Tom Brady is helping for sure, but Spytek is the one in the building every day. He knows from his time in Tampa how a coaching staff is supposed to look and collaborate. I fully expect whoever the next coach is to be allowed to pick his own staff, which is a very important detail. The Raiders are now moving forward with the number 1 pick, potentially Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Genty. That's your core. Pairing the right coach, and that's the key word, the right coach, with those talented young players could absolutely lead to sustainability over the next decade plus. I just got the text. Tom was out. Mike Tomlin has officially parted ways. He's stepping down from the Pittsburgh Steelers. 19 seasons, no losing seasons, 1 Super Bowl. He's the all-time winningest coach in Steelers history. It's all unfolding here live. It's been maybe 15 minutes since the news dropped. I've already received 3 texts from head coaching candidates, prominent ones, that say they would love to be in the Steelers organization, given the rich history, the tradition, everything that goes with the black and yellow. And I would say this, along with Baltimore, this job, Pittsburgh, really is the cream of the crop in this coaching cycle. We now have 9 openings. What is going on? So what does the future for Pittsburgh look like? The belief in league circles is that Mike Tomlin will likely take a year off, potentially do television. But here's a key caveat. Mike Tomlin was not fired. He stepped down voluntarily. So what does that mean? The Steelers still own his rights, and what could feasibly occur is a trade, much like we saw with New Orleans with Sean Payton, where he was ultimately traded to Denver after being out of the NFL. Additionally, I think most people believe that Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old will not be back in Pittsburgh. So in addition to finding a new head coach, new staff, you will also most likely need a new quarterback. With all the ambiguity, one thing is for sure. Mike Tomlin is one of the great coaches of this generation, and he has cemented his Hall of Fame legacy. Should Tomlin return, albeit in a year, he will undoubtedly be one of the most coveted head coaching candidates. All right, I want to welcome to the show Keyshawn Johnson. Key, I noticed you posted a video of your first ever touchdown in the playoffs with the Jets. That was pretty cool, and it reminded me that you used to be able to do some things back in the day.
Not a bad player, but it was actually the game. It wasn't just the touchdown; it was the actual magical game that I had in the divisional round against the Jaguars in '98. It was like you said, it was my first ever postseason game.
All right, well, one of the first games,
but I was pretty good though. Hey. I was pretty good
you're
though.
pretty good.
I must say.
Yeah.
I don't like to pat myself on the back too often about my playing days, but that was pretty epic.
What did you and what was the line you had in that game?
9 catches, 121 yards. So it's 121, a touchdown in the air, touchdown on the ground, an interception, a caused fumble recovery.
You had an interception?
Yes, I had an interception.
How? How did you have
because I played in our 2 minute. I played in our
protect
2 minute defense.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was the first to ever do it.
Yeah,
I was the first to ever do it. Belichick and Parcells designed that, and I was the first to ever do it. Actually, I did it in college though, because Dennis Thurman, great defensive back in the NFL, defensive coordinator, who's now the defensive coordinator at the University of Hawaii, installed because I played it in high school, right? I played DB in high school and junior college. So they installed this in college at USC, and Parcells and Belichick knew this. And when the time came, they installed me to play on the back end as one of the safeties.
One of the games that stood out to me was the performance of the Rams. It was a little uneven. Stafford, he started off well, and then he was really cold, and then he finished well. But are you weary at all about them after barely surviving Carolina in the wild card?
Look, Carolina gonna fight though, Jordan. Okay, they gonna fight. They gonna fight to the end. Nice. Dave Canales has done a tremendous job at keeping them focused when things don't look great for them. But they were gonna fight. Bryce Young is gonna fight. They were out there fighting. I don't really worry about the Rams, so to speak. I worry about the injury pileup. What Matthew Stafford's throwing hand. You're going to Chicago. It's going to be cold. Will that thing all of a sudden stiffen up on Matthew? But I like it if they get out of Chicago. I like their chances. Their chances increase clearly to get to San Francisco for the Super Bowl. Depending on what happens in that San Francisco Seattle matchup.
I thought the Rams this year, from start to finish, were perhaps the most complete team. And then they got beat up defensively from the Panthers. And Bryce Young making his first ever playoff start. It's just something about that game.
Yeah, but you
bothered
can't
me.
you can't matchups make fights, as they say, or whatever. But you can't worry because Carolina played them well. Carolina beat them, I think it was week 13, 14 of the NFL season. They they beat them. So there is some familiarity and crossover because of that first game. So I wouldn't panic about that at all with the Rams. Did we expect for them to win by 10? Most people probably did because they were looking kind of like, okay, they're going to take care of business. But this is Carolina, had their number a little bit. I think you got to take a look at the Chicago situation and see if they come out of Chicago, right? What is Chicago going to show us?
Yeah, well, to that point, Caleb Williams, they have 7 comebacks in the fourth quarter, 2 minutes or less. It actually is a new record. And the Packers comeback was one of the crazier playoff games because, first of all, I thought Chicago was dead when there was 21-3. Now you fast forward. Matt
That just
LaFleur,
goes
who
to
we'll
show.
get to in a minute.
That just shows me what you don't know.
Right, I don't
That's
know
all.
anything. I'm a dumb. But Matt LaFleur had some very strange clock management. But let's focus on Caleb and Chicago. What did you learn about Caleb Williams and specifically like the Bears as a whole from that game?
Well, I learned that this is what you're gonna get. You're going to get play from behind, late in games, keep it as close as you can, and make a rally for a comeback. Caleb, it's to me has cut down tremendously on some of the mistakes that he had been making in the past. It's been costing his team. Um, Roma Duze coming back, I thought that helped to some degree. Even if a guy didn't catch 10 balls, the fact that he's out on the field makes people kind of weary of are they going to throw him the football? But they got out of there lucky. Okay. They definitely got out of lucky because you talk about watching the game. I'm watching the game, and I get that Ben Johnson calls some good games. He's a good play caller, and he got the job because he called plays in Detroit, and they were successful over the next couple seasons. But here's what I would say: it'll be his fault, just like I said about Dan Campbell. If they don't advance, it'll be Ben Johnson's fault because he gets too cute, too much cuteness. Just play football, man. Line up and go straight ahead. All the I'm gonna go for it on my own 30-yard line, and I'm gonna do that. That's craziness. That's great. You're going to lose the game. You got lucky, okay? Because Matt LaFleur, your counterpart on the other side, is his brains scrambled eggs. Like he screwed it up. He was what were they up by 18?
They were up
And you
21-3,
surrender that lead.
and then they went up again.
Okay, 21-3. That's
Yeah, but then they
do
went
your
up
math.
again, and
It's
they
18.
Yeah, and they're up 11. Or they're up 11. It should have been 12. But here's
Yeah.
my issue with LaFleur, because I mean, I don't know enough about play calling, but I always thought he was a good coach and a good play caller. It felt like he was aggressive when he shouldn't have been. He wasn't when he should have been.
Yeah.
And I got the sense that he didn't really know what he wanted to do. And then I looked it up, and I was surprised by this. Over the last 4 years, so without Aaron Rodgers, he's 37, 30, and 1 with one playoff win. I mean, that's That's not what I thought it was. I don't know. There's a perception that Matt LaFleur maybe is more than he is.
Well, there's always going to be a perception of that. When you have an aging quarterback who departed a certain way, you have not gotten as far with Jordan Love as you did with the aging quarterback. You haven't gotten that far. You haven't gotten to an NFC championship game where you were in a couple with an aging quarterback. So people are going to look at you a little bit different. What I would say about play calling, every single play that's called, especially in the passing game, it's designed for somebody to be open. Somebody's going to be open 90% of the time, maybe 95% of the time. It's up to the quarterback to find that person immediately. When people say, I can't believe they called that on third down.
Right. They probably don't know.
Meaning like it's third and two, and a guy throws the ball 60 yards in the air, and the guy goes, well, I can't believe that he called that play. Well, yes, because he's expecting his bonehead quarterback to dump it down to the guy that's standing in front of him clapping. That's what happens with play callers. And I'm not by no means taking up for Matt LaFleur. I'm just trying to give your audience and you a little bit of education on how these things transpire and how they go, right? You call a play. If it's not there on your first read, your second read, mentally you need to go to your third read. Get off the first and second right now, get to the third. And if the third ain't there, pull it down and go. And a lot of times you see quarterbacks try to make some amazing throws that is unnecessary. Give me my easy money. Stop making it so difficult. Just give me the easy money. Give me the easy. You know who gives me the easy money? Matthew Stafford. He gives me the easy money.
Do you put the Green Bay loss more on LaFleur or Jordan Love? Because to me, it's on LaFleur way more.
No, I put it on a combination of everybody. You cannot blame one person. You have to look at the defense. You have to look at the special teams. You have to look at the quarterback, the offensive play caller. Like, you have to look at everything. You can't just look at the head coach and go, well, he sucks. It's his fault. You can't do it that way. And I know we do because that's just what we do in sports. We look at the head coach,
Yeah.
or we look at the quarterback.
Yeah.
But we got to look at everything. When we break it down to all 22 and looking at the film, we say to ourselves, well, if he didn't reach right there, and if that running back would have just pressed the hole a little bit more and cut back, he'd go 80. That's the way we look at film. When we're watching the film, I can break down all 60 plays with you in a film room, and if everybody does what they're supposed to do, that play, them 60 plays
It'll
is going to
work.
connect every
Right.
single time.
Right.
It'll every time. It might not be touchdown, it might not, but it's going to be something in front of you that will extend the drive. You look at last night's game, for instance, with Pittsburgh. There was a few throws that everybody's like, oh, God, how can Aaron Rodgers, what is going on? I'm like, well, number one, if the running back would have took the inside guy instead of the outside guy, he wouldn't have had a free runner teeing off on him. He would have been able to step up and throw and make the guy go all the way around. But people don't, if you don't know football, you don't know football.
And that's me.
Well, you got me, so I protect you.
Yeah, thank you. The Eagles. I don't know what I'm watching when I watch
Fly,
their offense.
Eagles, fly.
Yeah, I know you're a big
On
fan.
to victory.
What is that offense, and what is needed to fix what's clearly broken? Like, defensively, the second half of the year, they were a top 5 defense. Everyone respects Vic Fangio.
I honestly think that they need to get younger in some of the key get rid of some of the older heads, guys that have been there. It's a little older. You may want to start to look to replace some of those guys just to get a little younger. That's the one thing that I noticed, that some of the older guys you might just want to take a look at.
Is it as simple as the coordinator with so in other words, last year they have Kellen Moore, they win a Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts has a great year, Saquon has a historic year, and the receivers were great. And then now a new coordinator. Is that the biggest issue right now is the OC?
Yeah, it is. Think of you hired a coordinator who's never coordinated before. Brian Johnson was a coordinator who never coordinated before. Kellen Moore was a coordinator who coordinated at 2 stops prior. the Dallas Cowboys, as well as the slash Carson Chargers slash Newport slash LA Chargers. They've been all over the damn map in
Right,
LA.
but that
But
you're saying, yeah.
you got a guy who's experienced at doing it. So you want to bring in somebody. If you bring somebody from the outside, you want to bring in guys who knows what to do. It's just, one of the craziest things that to me is so wild is that Nick Sirianni was hired by Todd Haley in Kansas City. And Todd Haley's been on the streets now
Yeah,
as a
for
sharp
years.
offensive
Yeah.
mind for several years now. Why wouldn't you go hire him? I don't know. That's just one I just throw out there. Like, why wouldn't you go and say to yourself, you know what? He gave me my job. Let me take a look back and see if he could be a consultant, if not our coordinator, to help me get this
The
fixed.
problem is once you're out for a certain amount of years, you don't get back in.
Well, I understand. No, but that's because you it's not because I don't get back in, it's because Nick Sirianni won't hire me or such and such won't
But there's
hire
a
me. It's not
perception
it's
that
not
you're
the
dead.
door
You're done.
closed. But I can't, as a coach and running a team, I can't worry about what other people think. I got to be smart enough and astute enough to think logically about this situation. The Pittsburgh Steelers offense had been the same since he left. So I don't know, because you get guys that are out. Hell, Tom Moore was out. He got back in.
It's different to be a consultant than a
Yes, that's
coordinator.
what you go get somebody to be a consultant. Remember, I've always told you this. You go get one of these guys, got a little danger on their shoulders, little gray hair. They drink coffee all day long. That can help you as a consultant with your offense. That's what you need. Because clearly they don't know what they're doing with the talent in Philadelphia. And now you got an AJ Brown situation.
This is an NFL show, but we do have the college football playoff, the final, the national title, the Natty. We got Miami and Indiana, but we also want to do something new on the show. We sent you a package that I was hoping you could open for us on camera. Is that feasible?
Well, I have two packages.
Yeah, open
Yeah,
them
let me
up.
grab them real quick. This is the package.
So I want to say thank you to our friends at Gopuff. Pretty great. Anytime, anywhere. And they will deliver pretty much anything.
Okay, so just open it.
So open it and let me know what you think. This is a very special gift from me to you, man. Maybe you get a scissor, Key.
No, it's open. It's just like staple thingies. Sun-made raisins. Since
So the last
1942,
time we were on the
California
show,
sun-dried raisins, timeless and trusted. What? I
we
don't
talked about
understand.
raisins.
What is this? Okay.
Keyshawn, last time during the holidays, we talked about the raisins
You
and
sent
some of the Jewish
2
delicacies
bags
that I
of
eat.
raisins?
And you said, I don't like raisins. I hate raisins. And so I figured, why not send you some?
No. I don't eat raisins in a salad. I'm not eating
Right.
raisins in potato salad, the stuff that you do, couscous, all that. I'm not doing that. But I'll put it in my oatmeal.
Oh, you put in your oatmeal. So I'm happy to provide this service. I mean, this is what I want to do. I want to provide.
Wait, what you said? You said something about Jewish. What does this have to do with being Jewish?
Oh, because there's a lot of Jewish dishes, like a noodle kugel, for example, where raisins are a prominent ingredient.
What the hell is a noodle Google?
There it is. Noodle kugel, man. It's like a dessert pasta. It has raisins in it. It's baked. It's excellent. A noodle kugel. It's a staple in the Jewish tradition. We'll have to get you one.
Well,
It has cottage cheese in it. Sounds
that's
great,
fine.
right?
But you just said dessert. I've never seen a dessert with noodles.
It's a hybrid. It's a hybrid. You haven't
And
really
I've
been
never seen a dessert
exposed.
with cottage cheese.
Yeah, we're trying to expand your horizons, Key, and clearly, you haven't really been exposed to the Jewish delicacies. You know, we're more than just bagels and lox.
Oh, no, I never said that. You make it sound like I'm one of these. I go to Lovey's.
You have been
I hit Lovey's
talking
up at
down to
least.
my food for decades.
Wait, look, Jordan. I literally go to Lovey's in Calabasas at least 2 times a week, and it's the deli
Is that a
right down
kosher
the
joint?
hill.
What is that?
It's y'all. It's your deal. I don't. It's a
It has a
deli. They
Star
got
of
all
David
the
on
same
the
stuff.
front.
Oh, I'm sure on the door or whatever. Yeah, I haven't looked, but
Oh, that's a mezuzah. That's a different.
it's the only place open doing. Look. It's the only place open in the neighborhood doing Christmas. Let's just say
Perfect.
that.
So we want to say thank you to our
But it
friends at
got the whole
Gopuff for
deal. It got
delivering.
pastrami. Yeah, say thank you to GoPuff. Yes, that is
Gopuff
correct.
coming
But it
through.
has everything. It has the pastramis.
Right.
Got it all.
Key, you know, I'm trying to
He's so
provide you
funny.
with a service, getting you, you know, more exposed to my neck of the woods. And so what I would love
Man,
for
I
you
eat.
to do
I
is
eat.
try some noodle kugel, try some raisins in your salad.
I don't know that I'm gonna do raisins in the salads. Dry cranberries, yes, but not the raisins. I am not.
You do it in
In the
oatmeal. Though.
noodle
That's good.
kugel,
He said, "What the hell?
noodle
What the hell
kugel
is
is
a
what it's
noodle
called.
kugel? Noodle kugel.
Noodle kugel. What is
Look
the
it up
kugel
after.
part? I
You're in
know
for
the
a
noodle,
treat.
but what is the? Oh
Cottage
God!
cheese,
All right, noodle kugel.
baked
Oh
noodles. It's
God!
actually amazing. Cinnamon,
So I'm assuming your mom made that. I'm assuming your mom
of
made that a lot.
course. Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
big part of our. Yeah, it's a big deal. Before I let you go, give me your national title pick for Indiana, Oregon. I'm sorry, Indiana, Miami.
Yeah, Oregon been home. I'm going Indy, Mendoza and company, Signetti, Cooper. I just like everything about what they're doing. It doesn't look like they're slowing down, right? You see what they did to Alabama. You see what they did to Oregon. Miami Hurricanes is next up, and I just like Indiana in this one.
Keyshawn, great stuff as always. We'll see you for the championship Sunday weekend. That's gonna be great. Enjoy the divisional round and enjoy the raisins.
Yes. All right.
Fresh off a massive win in the wild card round, let's welcome in Bear Star linebacker Tremaine Edmunds. Tremaine, I'll just get right to it. What was the difference between the first half and the second half against Green Bay for you guys?
Man, to be completely honest with you, I think it was just the attention to detail. It's a different feel, like when you're back against the wall, when you feel like, man, this could be our last one. And just looking at everybody in the locker room just talking, it's like, nah, we got to figure out a way to turn this around. And I really think that's more so what the difference was. Even outside of like scheme wise, obviously we tweaked some things here and there. You know what I mean? The coaches did a good job of making those adjustments, but it's more so this attention to detail, man. Just the fighting the guys, like, nah, we ain't going out like this, bro. So, everybody look towards one another, like, let's lock in, let's do what we got to do, and, let the chips lay where they fall. And, you know what I mean? And we was able to, keep chopping away. We come out, get a stop, give it back to the offense. They was able to do their thing, get another stop, and it was just the unrelentless pursuit, man, just to make sure that we got that job done.
What was the locker room like at halftime? I mean, was it energetic? What was it? Somber?
It's one of those type of things. You first walk in there, it's like we here. Like nobody want to be down 21-3. It was kind of quiet at first, just kind of as soon as everybody got in. But like once everybody got settled, it's like, nah, but let's go. Like we about to do this. And then when Coach Johnson talked to us, when Ben talked to us, it was more so like, see, early on, like OTAs or it was training. It was one of those times he had showed us the clips from the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons game. And we had talked about that early on. So it was already instilled in us like, listen, we not here yet. We not at the Super Bowl, but this is what happened to this team. Like he showed us this early. You know what I mean? So like in that time, we already believed because we talked about this as a team. You know what I mean? Like he didn't just show it. Like we talked about it like no matter what happens throughout this season, like this was their game. And, ironically, we got two players that was on opposing teams. We got Joe Tooney that was on New England. We got Grady Jarrett that was on Atlanta. And, they gave their reactions off of it. Tooney talked about how the locker room was for New England to turn it around. So it's like we took all that stuff and put it into last game because we was like the score was a little bit different, but at the same time, like it was kind of still a big, deficiency as far as, the points wise. So we were still able to, lock in and do what we had to do to get the win.
Did Coach Johnson reference showing you guys that during halftime? He said,
I'm gonna be honest.
Remember? Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but yeah, I'm gonna be honest. He did. He was like, "Listen, we built for these moments. We talked about it. We seen it. We know what it take. Now let's go do it." You know what I mean? Like he was like direct and short, and it got to the point quick that guys was like, "Nah, you right. Like we could do this." You know what I mean? And from that point on, it was like, let's put our head down. Let's work. Let's take it one play at a time, one drive at a time, and we're gonna be happy with the results at the end of the game.
What do you make, and what do the guys make about Coach Johnson's, let's say, lack of positive feelings toward the Packers?
Hey man, you love it as a player. You know what I mean? This is my third year here now, just going through this, Green Bay Chicago rivalry, and just knowing how much it means to our organization, knowing how much it means to the city of Chicago. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I remember last year, like we had lost like what 9-10 games straight. We played Green Bay the last game of the year. We beat them, and you would have thought that we was going to the playoffs. And like as a player, like you just see how big of a rivalry that is. You know what I mean? Like no matter what happens, like this is what the city cares about. But obviously our plan is to go bigger and beyond. Just beating them. But just knowing how much it means to the city, knowing how much it means to everybody that's a part of the Chicago Bears organization. I mean, it brings joy to you, man. Just knowing that we was able to do something like that in that crucial of a game, like. These are the type of games that you're going to remember like for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It goes down here. Just like we're still talking about the Atlanta and New England game. Like this is going to be one of those type of games, but it's definitely good to be on the bright side of it.
You're very aware of the history then and the relevance of it. Is this something that you guys talk about, especially as a defense, and trying to be in the moment to enjoy what you're actually accomplishing?
Like I'm so aware because like when I first signed here, like nobody shied away from letting me know how important it was to beat Green Bay or how important it was Green Bay week. You know what I mean? Obviously each week is important in the league, but it's just something different about when you're playing rival opponents. You know what I mean? Like it puts that extra juice in your preparation. It puts the extra juice in, whatever it is as far as what get you going on Sundays, Saturdays, whatever day that you play. But we're definitely aware, man. And, we try to be aware no matter who the opponent is. It's a certain type of approach that you got to take to have success in the league and not just regular success, playoff success. You know what I mean? It's a certain formula, certain way you got to go about your business. So, a lot of it is just, credits to the guys that we got. We got professionals in there. It's not obviously roster wise. It says we got rookies, second year, but at the same time, it's professionals that want to accomplish something bigger than just individual goals. And, anytime that we can collaborate and, obviously when you're trying to obtain these goals, like let's put the team goals in it. And that's when you have winning football. And you know what I mean? We just got our head down working and, getting ready for this week.
What was it like watching Caleb do his thing, especially that one throw he made rolling left? Like when you're watching that, what are you thinking? And what are you guys saying on the sideline?
Yeah, when I'm watching, I'm like, I'm a fan too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because I'm on the sideline at this point, we just got to stop. We're like, okay, boom. We in this game, man. We about to go win it. Like, we looking at each other on the sideline. We about to go win this game. And, I honestly turn into a fan. I'm watching every little thing. Like, I'm watching the mechanics. I'm watching the drop back. He roll out this way, throw off his foot like the MJ type throw. I'm like, yo, this dude is special. And, it's not the first time, man. It's like the whole year's kind of been like that. Like, let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? That's why his nickname is Iceman, because it's like the guy don't flinch. You know what I mean? He don't flinch, and that's what you love to see from your quarterback, man, the guy that's in charge for sure.
We had D Swift on a few weeks ago, and he talked about I don't know if it was a transformation, but certainly a significantly improved Caleb year 1 to year 2. What have you seen when it comes to his improvements?
Yeah, I think it's a guy that's intentional about, his progression and becoming a big time player in this league. Whether that's him, getting the extra work done inside the building, body work, whatever it may be, like just his attention to detail, his mechanics, just the way he goes about himself at practice. If something's not right, I need to see it again, or let's do it again. Like that's what you like to see. You know what I mean? We're not pushing mistakes under the rug. We want to get it right now. And, so game time, we can have that confidence because that's what we pick it up at. We pick it up during the week, practice. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to mess up to get it right. But, you know what I mean? It's just the accountability and the leadership part as far as like, nah, okay, we might have did this wrong, but let's circle back up, let's huddle back up, and let's get this right.
I'm looking at the stats. This is one of the best statistical seasons for you. And 4 picks, fumble recovery, sack. What has allowed you to have this level of success this season? And talk to me a little bit about Dennis Allen, his role.
Yeah, I think just, being in different positions as far as, just moving around, giving the offense different looks, just kind of using my athleticism and, things that I do well and just really going out there trusting myself, you know what I mean? And, we got this like funny and fun, competitive room just as far as in the defensive side of, who's going to have the most takeaways. And that always brings out the best in everybody, man. It brings out like the kid days and, you know what I mean? When you was playing with your homeboys growing up and it's like, now I'm going to make more plays than you, bro. And it's like, that's just how it is. And like we compete in that area and it's like, now Kevin Byard is making all these picks, now Shawnee's making all these picks. It's like, who is it going to be this week? You know what I mean? And we come in there with that juice and it's like we challenge each other. And I think, dog's going to rise to the challenge, man. And it's like, nah, I'm going to show you this week, bro. I'm about to go out there and make more plays than you. And when you have that type of fire going around the room, that's how you get in this position that we're in as far as, leading the league and takeaways and stuff like that.
What's something about Tremaine Edmunds that maybe the Bears fans might not know that would be interesting for them?
First of all, I'm a man of many talents. I can draw. I don't know if a lot of people know that. I can draw. I don't know if
like legit like sketch and.
Yeah, I got some skill, man. I got a little skill. I got a little skill. I guess I would say I think some people may know, but I skipped a grade when I was younger, so I was always like one of the youngest in my class. You know what I mean? I graduated when I was 17, but I think people know that now just because of when I got drafted. But we live in a world, man. A lot of the stuff that people know, like a lot of people gonna know a lot of stuff about you. You know what I mean? That's just the world that we live in. People put information out, and if they didn't know by now, I'm pretty sure they know. You know what I'm saying? But that's probably one thing I would say that I got a little skill in drawing.
I love that. You and your brother, first rounders. What were the battles like growing up in terms of the Edmunds household? Not only just football, but everything.
I wouldn't have had it no other type of way. Like, I'm the youngest of 3, you know what I mean? Both of my brothers older, so it's like I kind of always got, you know how it is. Your older brother's always gonna kind of jump on you a little bit, but that's what instilled that dog mentality in me. Like, I don't care who it is, like you gotta, like it's gonna be that, you know what I mean? And that's just kind of how the battles was growing up. Like they was tough on me and they didn't shy away from it. And I always played like with their friends or whatever, so it was always like I was playing up my whole life. Like even when I got to college, people was like, how you gonna come out at 19? It's because I'm used to it, you know what I mean? I'm used to playing up and I'm used to being around older guys. So it's like I didn't really see it how the whole world was saying it. Like, man, you 19 years old about to get drafted. Like, I'm like, I'm supposed to be here. Like, what you mean? That's why I decided to come out. But nah, it's just like the whole gist of growing up, man. Like, to be honest with you, we could never finish a one-on-one game. We could never finish anything that was just one-on-one related because none of us wanted to lose. You know what I mean? And we was going to scratch and claw, do all type of stuff until the game was over, but we could never finish it because it's like, all right, bro, like, I ain't going to let you do this. I ain't going to let you get this point. And we would just always just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But, I mean, that's the type of house you wanted. And it made it no better that my pops played and, my mom, she ran track. So it was competitive for everybody. You know what I mean? And it's like everybody was getting pushed day in, day out. So you had no choice but to go get it. You know what I mean?
So when it would get to the point of, like, you have to end the game, were there physical fights or just yelling?
Nah, it wasn't physical fights. But, I mean, somebody that's competitive, you're going to talk a little trash, you're going to do this, but yeah, we brothers, but when it come in that regard, like we're going to respect each other. Like it ain't going to never get taken to that point, but we talk trash to one another, man. That brought out the dog in all of us, but it's always love at the end of the day.
What's the legacy that you'd want to leave behind as a football player, Tremaine?
Yeah, I think first of all, even outside of, being a football player is just being a man of God for one, just being, a guy that's, get respect from his peers, a guy that handles his business a certain way, And, that stuff will carry over into, how people see me as a football player. You know what I mean? A
Yes.
guy that respects, his peers, a guy that respects, everybody around him and, and pays homage really to the path that got him to this point. And, I think when you start speaking about legacy, that's what people remember. Some people may forget some of the plays that you make on Sunday and Monday nights, Thursday nights, but the person you are and, your character, your identity, that's going to be the stuff that people really remember. So that's more so the legacy that I want to leave behind. And that's going to carry over to the football player. You know what I mean? First, talk about me as a man, talk about me as the person I am. And then now we talk about, obviously the accomplishments that came along the way as far as sports-wise.
That's an awesome answer. We talked about Coach Johnson earlier. D. Swift told us a few weeks ago that he was also pretty goofy, funny. Have you noticed that too? And obviously, we said beforehand, defensively, you're not going to be around him as quite as much.
Right, yeah. Swift probably got a little bit more, of a relationship just as far as because he's more on the offensive side, Coach Johnson, I'm saying. But, the times that I do see him, he's I would definitely say he's a lockdown guy 100%, 100%. But, the little bit of times he can, let his personality out and his sense of humor out, he's definitely funny. He cracks jokes here and there. And, he's loose at times. But I will say more times than not, I see him more in a serious role. But it could just be like little jokes that he may say. And it's just like, okay, this guy got some humor for sure. But, he's definitely more on the lockdown side for me.
This is a tough one. If I could give you one former Chicago Bear all time to be on this year's team, who would you pick?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
There's a lot of them.
I'm about to say that's tough, man. There's so many great players that came by here. I'd probably say my guy Pep, man.
Pep, yeah.
I'd probably give it to my guy Pep for sure.
He was something else. There's a great story that the Carolina guys tell when Julius Peppers showed up to campus and they didn't know he was a football player. And they were playing basketball with him and he was dunking everything. And they said, what are you rated? And he said, I don't know. I don't think I am. But then they go to find out that he was the number one football player in the country. And Julius Peppers could legit hoop. He was one of the best athletes I've ever seen.
Nah, I'm already knowing. He was definitely nice.
Can you hoop, Tremaine?
Oh yeah, I'm nice. I will show you. I got a state championship in high school. I'm telling you, I played ball all my life.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. Hoop was one of my first loves for sure. I grew up an Allen Iverson fan from Virginia. You know what I mean? LeBron fan. So hoop was that was my first love. Keep it real with you. That was my first love.
So what was the transition? Why to football?
When you love multiple sports growing up, it's all right, I got to put more emphasis in one over than the other. And it just, as I got older, I gravitated more towards let's hit somebody. You know what I mean? Let's make plays on the football field. And that's more so what I love to do. And, I love to play basketball too, but football and everything that comes with it, being outside and running around and just being physical, that was what I gravitated towards. So that's more so why it was this is really what gets me up. This is what keeps me going.
Who's the Tremaine Edmunds NBA comp?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
What was your game? Were you a bucket? Were you a lockdown guy?
I could play defense, but see, I play with my brother. My brother was always the defensive guy. We would put him probably on the best player, let him go do his thing. I'm gonna be honest about that. But I'm the taller guy, so I could play down low. I could play on the wing. So I'm trying to see. I'm like a Swiss Army. So I would, I don't want to put myself on a pedestal, but give me Braun or somebody. Give me Melo. I'll take Melo. I'll take Melo.
Melo was. I've never seen someone score like Melo. I mean, he was
Melo
unbelievable,
was a bucket.
bro. He
Melo
really
was.
So were you really bouncy too?
Yeah, I ain't had no crazy bounce, but I could put on a show when I needed to.
And a state title in hoops. Did you get a ring?
I did, yes sir.
That's probably one of your more prized possessions, I would guess.
No, 100%. I got a ring in basketball. That's the crazy thing is I got a ring in basketball, track, but didn't get one in football. But things happen.
What would a Super Bowl ring mean to you?
It'll mean everything. I mean, you got to think about how much time, how much blood, sweat, and tears we put into this sport. When you were a kid, I grew up my whole life going to Super Bowl parties and, doing all type of stuff just to one day have that feeling. You know what I mean? I always said, man, I can only imagine what it feels like, you know what I mean, to win a championship at the highest level. Because that's what we do it for. You know what I mean? I know what it felt like to win in high school, and I know how I felt then. But at the highest level, and like knowing how much we put into it, like work hours and film study, you know what I mean, and just how much I put my body through just to be rewarded, you know what I mean, with that ring on your finger, it'd definitely be very rewarding, man. So honestly, I don't even know how I would feel, but I know like it'll be like, man, this is what it feels like. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, let's celebrate for sure.
Because we as fans or reporters, journalists, the NFL community, the players, what you go through just to be on the field on Sunday, I mean, nobody really understands it. And we only see you. Like, imagine if you saw someone for just 3 hours of their work week, and that's it.
Right.
There's so much more that goes into it, right? I mean, it's like you can't even fathom what you have to do just to be ready.
I'm telling you, man, and that's why I like to do these type of things, and I like when people ask me that question because people don't really understand like everything that goes into it. All they see is Sunday when we play for 3-4 hours, and then wait till the next week. But I have conversations with people all the time, and I tell them like, this what time my day start, this what time my day end, and they say, man, what you doing all day? I'm like, yo, this is what it take. Like, you want to know? This is what it take. Like, I'm here at this time. This is how my day is. I'm doing this, doing that, all to be ready to put on a show for y'all on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And I tell them, and I tell everybody, like, that's why, obviously we all grew up wanting to do something, but like when you really in it and you really see what it takes to not just do it, but to have success, like we don't want to just do it. We put too much time in it. We want to be successful. We want to be some of the best that done it. All stuff like that. You know what I mean? If you like that alpha type of player leader, like that's the approach you're going to take. So you're not taking no shortcuts. You know what I mean? You going through the hard part of it. You putting in the extra hours and waking up early and you going above and beyond and do what you got to do to be ready. You know what I'm saying? To put your best foot forward. So I enjoy talking about it, man, because a lot of people, they really don't. I'm telling you, like, it's crazy. They really don't understand. I'm like, listen, it's a full-time job. Like, I'm not just here wasting time throughout the day and then I'm showing up on game day like, okay, let's play. Like, nah, I'm putting in hours. Like, it's long days. And you know what I mean? And it's good when people really understand everything that go into it.
100%. And it's really important to talk about because the fans, there's no way to fathom it. Like, your day, you probably, like, oh, look, I think today's a good example. I don't know if it was an off day, but typically, when are you in the facility by? Are you in there by 6, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, so today was off day, so it was a little bit different. But throughout the week, yeah, our first meeting is like around the 8:30 time. But like the way the day is set up, like you have to get up early because you have to do treatment, get your body feeling good, prepare whatever it is, get in there early to watch tape, you know what I mean, go over the game plan. And it's like we live in a world where it's like the meeting before the meeting. So something starts at this time. That don't mean sure, but that mean that's mandatory at that time. But you better get in there early and do what you got to do so you can be prepared for that meeting. So, and depending on how far you stay away, like it's a lot of different things that go into it. I like to do different things in the morning. So yeah, my day gets started early and it ends late, just as far as just trying to get everything done, man, so I can be, you know what I mean, have that confidence going into the game.
Try to be asleep by 10?
Yeah, I'm strict about my sleep. I ain't gonna let, like, my family know, like, call me during this time, because if you call me after this, my phone gonna be down. I'm resting. I gotta get up early. I got a long day. So if not, I would probably, to be really, I'd probably say about 10:30.
I appreciate you so much. Such an absolute pleasure having you on, and really grateful for your time, and would love to stay connected. Can't thank you enough for doing this.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate you.
Let's take a look at some of this week's Fanatics Sportsbook playoff lines. As always, I haven't seen these. I'm going to pick one of the two options. So we got Saturday games, divisional round. Broncos minus a half a point versus the Bills, or the Niners plus 7.5 at Seattle. I'm going to take the Niners. There is a lot of points here. I mean, 7.5 points for a playoff game is one thing, but to have it be between two division rivals, I understand that the Niners are banged up, especially now with Kittle. But I just can't in good faith tell you to lay 7.5 points in that game. Sunday games, Pats -3 versus the Texans, or Rams -4 versus the Bears. I'm going to take the Rams because I feel like they definitely had a wake-up call against the Panthers. And that was another massive spread, 10.5. I thought that was too much. We talked about it on the show. Chicago, to me, played a pretty poor game and an incredible final few minutes. But that will not work against the Rams. The Rams, to me, arguably the most complete team in football. Certainly offensively dynamic. And I would expect Matthew Stafford to be better. So I am going to lay the 4 against the Bears. That's it for this episode of the Schultz Report. Thank you to Keyshawn Johnson and Tremaine Edmunds for joining us, and thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next week for the Conference Championships.